Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another walkthrough video. So, what have I got for you today? This is Zebra Luminae, and this is obviously a new sound set for UHE's Zebra 2 synth, and also for Zebra HZ, the Dark Zebra. Just a few quick words about what it's about. Luminae is very much about movement and evolution. So there's a lot of sounds in there that evolve as you play them, and also have a lot of evolutional sort of controls within the mod wheel and the XY pads. There's also a lot of supportive movement sounds, so there's lots of arps and bass lines and sequences and drum loops, all to just sort of give a certain element of subtle energy to your track. So there's nothing here that's going to be right up in the front. It's all stuff to play in the background, just supporting whatever your main bit of music is. So it's very much sort of designed for underscore, but both laid back underscore, the quiet moments, and also for the action stuff as well. But hopefully that'll become fairly obvious as we rattle through some of the sounds. Okay, so let's just kick off in the ARP section as per usual, shall we? So all these ARPs are designed to have that little sort of hint of energy about them, basically. And I'll just play through them, and you can just take a listen, see if you like what you hear, etc. And then what I'll also do afterwards is go through some of the dark versions in Zebra HZ. So as you can probably reasonably quickly pick up, there's a real sort of blend of ones that are just going to sit subtly in the background, and others that can be used just to push things forward a little bit. And everything, the aim generally for the sounds is to still have that sort of organic analog sound that Zebra's really good at. So everything is definitely synthy, but at the same time it produces sounds that have just an organic quality, that they're not overly synthetic. They have that sort of real world, sort of almost human feel, I guess is one way of putting it. So this would be a good example of the sort of actiony, supportive sound. Let's try the mod wheel. So we go into quite a sort of deep bass line there, but there's also this edginess halfway up. Now, no, sorry, apologies for the sniffing. Touch of hay fever this morning, I think. Yes, so you've got some bass lines like Flesh Eaters where it's traditional that you sort of compress down the bass to mono somewhere in the centre, but I occasionally like to put in a few basses that sort of pan around a bit just to add a little extra movement again. And as I say, this is all about movement. Nice subtle bass there. Here's a bass with that sort of evolving, filtering sound. I mean, in many ways, these sounds are deliberately designed to be simple to use, you know, easy to just drop into a track so that you can focus on more complicated elements. And you've got these controls like just a little bit of extra strength and tension in the mod wheel, and again here with the filter, put it right down, or you can push it forward, and then you've got tightening the envelope, opening it out to get that sort of boomy feel. So yeah, they're all full of different things you can do with the sound, so that you're not just stuck with a preset patch. You can use it to tweak easily in your track to make it feel your own, really. I'm not one of those people that's so precious that I demand that you use my presets exactly how I've created them. That's the mod wheel again. I know a lot of people take my presets and then evolve them themselves and tweak them to create their own sort of bank of sounds for projects they're working on, and that's fine by me. I'm happy just creating building blocks. I do like a little bit of driftiness. Excuse me a moment, I am going to have to clear my throat. I seem to have woken up with something of a gravelly voice this morning. Not all the basses are huge, throbbing monsters. And I always think it's important that every sound that you add into something should bring its sort of a level of atmosphere. So there's a couple of drums, not too many. And then we've got some keys. Slightly sort of lullaby quality to it, doesn't it? It's not for me to do bread and butter sounds. There's always going to be an element of I program sounds that I would use. I know I always say that, but it's true. So they're never going to be particularly vanilla, but at the same time I don't create sounds that just sort of are showing off and full of lots of complex ideas. I mean, for instance, this one, this is 3 oscillators run through 1 filter, so it's not outrageously weird or anything when you consider what Zebra is capable of, but at the same time it's not a really obvious. That's unpleasant, and I can only apologise for that. Unfortunately, I do through these walkthroughs all in one go. So, my creaky voice is really beginning to piss me off now. Right, there's a few drum loops here. I quite like programming drum loops in synthesizers because there's something really quite... they gel together. The loop gels better than sort of pitching a load of different drum samples together. There's a fluidity to it which is rather nice. So again, with the mod wheel there, you've got sort of tonal options that you can play with. Yeah, and the thing with Zebra is it doesn't just do... Not everything is just sort of noise-based percussion. You've got things like the ring modulators and the filters and the FM stuff and the comb stuff, which really add some other elements. But at the same time, the noise can do stuff like this, which is always cool. So there are quite a few in Zebra Luminae, and you can really sort of build them up to create your own sort of percussion systems almost, things filtering in and out. You can get some really good energy going. That's the module. Loads of flexibility. And there you, with the Ethnic, you develop instruments, and that's quite interesting. Nice bit of energy on that one. Rattling through your car chase or something. So you get this great sort of natural shuffling quality. Like I say, it has a fluidity, a sort of... the percussion sounds gel together really nicely. Big fan of that. Okay, so we've got some pads. Now these pads are very much going to have that subtle movement I was talking about earlier. And there's different levels of sort of extremity in the amount of movement. So this again is another fairly subtle one. Got a sort of drifty wobble going on and a bit of fluctuation in the filter. So you can play sort of a very simple pad bed, but at the same time it's not going to be boring because nothing's happening. And there is that sort of that little edge to it. And then you've got a sound like this that has much more movement. There's actually kind of a slightly sort of digital quality to quite a few of these pads, whereas sort of previously I've focused on more analog sounds. There is actually this sort of wavetable almost style to them. So if you're a fan of synths like the Roland D50 or anything by Waldorf, for instance, you probably quite like some of these pads. So sorry about the sniffing, I didn't realise that was going to happen this morning. I was supposed to do this video yesterday, but for some reason the business next door decided to do a load of work at 8:30 in the morning and continued it throughout the entire day, which meant I couldn't record anything. Oh, and I do apologise if I'm doing a lot of apologising at the moment if you do hear a bit more background noise than usual today, but the studio is incredibly hot and I'm having to keep the window open so that I don't actually pass away whilst doing this video, which would be kind of sad, wouldn't it? Well, I'd be disappointed. So again, here we have some nice fluctuations. And it is that, yeah, there's quite a bit more sort of subtle modulation rather than sort of slow evolution in these sounds. That's a deep one. Let's play it a bit further up. More fluctuation in that one. That's one of the less subtle patches, I'd say. Okay, and tail dies off. Next pad, last pad. Okay, and on to the soundscapes. We've got a handful of these, and there's hopefully a bit of a mixture between dark and light here. Sometimes I do have a tendency to go down the dark route, but there's one or two light ones here too. But I do like doing soundscapes in Zebra. It's very flexible for that kind of thing. Also, here's a. It's not light as such, but it isn't sort of quite the dark, disturbing sort of one. It has a slightly more ambient quality to it. And by the sounds of it, the guys at the restaurant downstairs have turned up at 8:30 in the morning again. I'm going to kill them one day. I am actually going to kill them. Of course, if anything did now happen to them, I've just made a terrible confession and incriminated myself. So lots of really nice atmospheric stuff, which just Zebra's really good at. Really is very good at this stuff. And there's something about the quality of doing this sort of interesting organic sound with just pure synthesis, as opposed to a sample-based approach using something like Omnisphere or Alchemy, that just really appeals to me. It's not that it feels like more of an accomplishment or anything. There's just I don't know. Maybe it is partly that, but yeah, there's just something unabashedly cool about it. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we've got quite a few sequences here and there of again a variation between the sort of the lighter, subtler stuff and the sort of action supportive stuff. And there are a few more sort of slightly twisted atonal sounds this time as well, and sort of bell malady things, because I like using this kind of sound at the moment. It fits into the sort of music that I'm producing, so that's why it's here. Hopefully it's also quite popular. So yeah, it's good stuff for a bit of tension. That's the mod we'll do on this one. So that's quite a fun mod wheel, isn't it? I'm just lazily playing all these through on an A key, just so you can hear them all in the same same key, same note. So nice little bits of movement, and this is just one oscillator, one cone filter, and one normal filter. So you don't have to go mad like this one. You don't have to go completely mad to produce complex patches with Zebra. That's why it is my favourite synth. In fact, I've just written an article on my my personal music website, mattbowdler.com, about my top 10 synths. So if you want to know what my top 10 synths are, go to www.mattbowdler.com. Actually, go there anyway. You can hear my music and you can see the brand new design. It's very exciting. And the About page isn't 6 miles long like most composers do. I started playing piano when I was a fetus. Why does anyone ever want to read that on your website? No one cares. They just want to listen to your music and see if you're any good or not. Anyway, that little rant just went over a few sounds. So there you go. That's the Zebra version, the normal Zebra version of Luminae. Now, kids, who wants to have a listen to the dark Zebra version? You do? Excellent. Let's bring it up. And here it is in all its delicious glory. Such a pretty blue. Okay, so, are you ready? We'll whiz through these a bit more quickly because otherwise this video will be 100 years long. I'll play it like an army unit. That's the mod wheel. Okay, and then some dark bases. I seem to be playing all these in A again. Don't know why. Just instinctively drawn to it. Mod wheel. I think that's true sometimes, people, isn't it? Oh, well, we've got two versions of this. We are drawn to particular chords and chord patterns sometimes and keys, I find. And this is different how. It's a bit wider. Oh, so that's still left in there. Ooh, which one will make the final version, eh? Tension. I'm wondering if the reason I'm often drawn to A minor is because it means I only have to play the white keys. So lazy. It'd be funny if it wasn't true. Something a little brighter at last. They were all getting a bit deep, those bass lines, weren't they? That's all this. Look at that. You in their right mind joins things up like that. Terrible. This was an exam and I had to show teacher saw that as how I'd worked out the answer. They go, no you didn't. Doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Here are the bases. Nice bit of analog punchiness there. Nice sub bass. Might need your headphones for that one on YouTube. And then again, just a little drummage. Okay, what we got the keys. Just a couple of keys. Slightly mality quality to it, rather nice. And the leads, of which there are not very many, apologies. Oh, this one's quite a big one, I seem to remember. Quite nice for a sort of island adventure game, that one. Okay, so let's go through some loops. As I mentioned before, there is that sort of range of the lighter, tappier stuff and then the more impactful stuff as well. interesting little tonal quality of this one. So there you go, your loop can play along with the tune. And the final loop. Okay, we're back to the pads. So, as I was mentioning before, the pads generally have a slightly digital quality, so they're going to have a bit more of an analog edge, obviously, with the Diva filters in Zebra HZ, which will give you that sort of vibe of those classic 80s synths that had the digital oscillators with the analog filters, which were always rather fun, like my much mourned and Sonic ESQ1, which I still probably think I shouldn't have sold, but never mind. The only good thing I can say about selling that synth is that I did sell it for more than I paid for it. So that's something, isn't it? That's a nice aggressive synth, isn't it? Pad with a bit of menace about it. And then the exact opposite. So you'll probably actually be slightly surprised to see there are 38 million pads in this one. For once, the pads have taken a slight backseat on this particular sound set to allow for the more sort of tempo sync stuff. Ooh, this is creepy. What's it doing? Ooh, pretty but ugly at the same time. Much like your wife. Sorry. I don't know where that came from. I've been going for a half an hour. If you know anything about my walkthrough videos, you'll know about half-hour mark I start to go slightly insane. I think it's partly through an element of repetition. There's also the fear that something's going to go horribly wrong any moment and I'll have to start again. That's rather a pretty one, I like that one. Okay, and the Soundscape, so obviously these are going to have a slightly darker turn because of the analogness. I mean, these sounds are great if you're doing a game score and someone says, can you just sort of have something lurking in the background. Doesn't need to be anything in particular. These sounds are an absolute godsend. And Killer Manchego is obviously the comedy patch name for this particular sound set. That's slightly sort of slasher horror vibe, that one, doesn't it? Ah, a lighter one. Very subtle movement in this one. Probably be quite fun to have a play here. Ooh. A little bit of cue going on there. So, fun movement to be had there. That's quite nice. It seems subtle at first, and then you play a second key, and it all rather goes to hell. That's quite fun, that one. Oh, the fun word's back. Didn't take long, did it? Actually, it did take long. That was 37 minutes in. That must be a record for me, mustn't it? Very deep and very subtle, this one. See what the mod wheel does. Destabilizes it creepily. Excellent. That's what we like. A creepy destabilization. And sequences. Provided by the note A. Let's not pretend something else was going to happen. That sort of ticking clock vibe to that one. Ooh, hello. Lots going on in this one. This is one of my favourite sounds. I really do like the sequences in this one, actually. They're very much more the sort of thing that I've been thinking about doing. Really good sort of tense underscore stuff. And then you get a bit of actiony stuff like this. Has that nice evolution as the filters through. And some of these sequences have that slight sort of modular quality to them. They sort of cycle through a number of different subtleties. But the difference with these and most modular sounds that I hear on YouTube and what have you is that you can use them. I never quite understand why people spend thousands and thousands of pounds on modular systems and then create weird, unusable sounds that basically sound like a bucket of nails being thrown down the stairs. Another rant you've managed to fit in there, badly well done. And there we go. So, there you go. That was Zebra Luminae, brought to you through the power of waffling and sniffing and throat clearing. So I can only apologise again for the general disgusting sort of sound quality. As various parts of my body decided to empty themselves throughout the Oh, that sounds really wrong. I wish I'd phrased that differently. Oh God, that sounds like I've just done a poo in my chair, doesn't it? Oh dear. Anyway, I hope you've liked the synth sounds that you've heard, ignoring me and just concentrating on the sounds. And as I say, it's all about subtlety and movement and evolving sounds and just little bits in there to just add weight and dynamism to what you're doing. And I'm very, very proud of this one, actually. I really think it's sweet as. And so, yeah, thanks for watching this far. Assuming you didn't turn off earlier when I was making hacking noises, which I would not have admonished you if you had at all. And hopefully the sounds coming in through my window weren't too distracting. I didn't hear any large vehicles going by, so you won't be accidentally thinking that one of the pad sounds has a great moped engine quality to it, which has certainly happened before. So yes, this will be out on Friday, the 10th of July. My God, are we in July already? We are, bloody hell. And it'll be priced at the usual $19.99, and then you can get the dark edition, which will be $29.99. And do remember, please do remember, that the Dark Edition always also comes with the original version. So don't buy the Dark Edition and the other version. You don't need both, because both versions are in the Dark Edition. It always says this in my newsletters and on the product pages, but still, occasionally I have to send emails to people saying, you've bought both versions, you didn't want to do that. And we then sort it out and come to a nice conclusion for everybody, etc. Yes, so please do buy it, because I've got a baby coming in October, and that's going to be expensive. So, yes, please help me. But fear not, I'm working on and backing up a bunch of synth sound sets to reveal when little baby does turn up, so that there will be releases whilst I'm busy cleaning poo and vomit off myself and all the furniture in the house. Great, okay, well there you go. Thanks again for chiming in. And if you're one of those people that's started subscribing to my YouTube channel because my Omnisphere 2 video was put up on a piracy site, fuck you. You know, that baby I just mentioned isn't going to have clothes if you steal all my stuff and nobody pays for it. So, yeah. I know it's tempting to steal stuff, but it is still stealing, and you're only doing it because you can get away with it, not because of some great moral imperative that you might try and argue, where art must be free or something like that. So yeah, you're a thief. You're just a thief, and that really irritates me. And you are stealing from the people who actually provide you with the things you want. So that's so dumb and irresponsible. Well done, you. Grow up, maybe. Hey, yeah. Why not grow up? Anyway, let's not end on a downer. I hope you enjoyed the sounds, and I will actually be giving away something new and free from my site very soon. So that's there for you baby thieving bastards. Enjoy.